I've gone through so many different stages on my spiritual path. And I was just sort of thinking, well, what were the stages that I went through? Well, to begin with, there was the awakening stage. The stage when I awoke to the gift of spirit, hearing God's voice. Now you'd think that would have been a joyous occasion, and I would have been elated by it, not a bit of it. That's the strange thing about it. I was going through this incredibly difficult time in my life, and I was in Glastonbury in a little private house, and they had a room that they called a sanctuary. And I was sitting there with Peter and Sheena was his wife then, and I was sitting there, and I didn't know anything about meditation, and I didn't even really know anything about a sanctuary, but anyway, I was sitting and I was praying, and I said, God, what can I do? My life is in such a mess. And then I heard the voice, and the voice said, be still and know that I am God. When you're going through a really difficult time in your life and you start to hear a voice, well, that just about finished me. I thought, my goodness, I'm going round the bend. I'm having a nervous breakdown. What in the world is happening? Now, there were only two other people there in the sanctuary. There's Peter and Sheena. And here was I, hearing a voice. Well, I listened again, and it said, all will be well if you listen to this voice and obey it. I thought, goodness me, what's going to happen to me next? Well, after the meditation, or the prayer, as it was prayer for me, we went outside, and I said to Peter and Sheena, I had a very strange experience in there. I said, what was it? And I said, well, I heard a voice. Oh, what did the voice say? And I said, well, the voice said, be still and know that I am God. Well, they both got terribly excited. And I thought, well, there's nothing to be excited about. Here I am having a nervous breakdown, and they get excited about it. And they said, well, I think that's absolutely wonderful. I said, I don't think it's wonderful at all. And, I have the feeling that if they hadn't sort of said, well, I feel it's from a higher source, I wouldn't have known anything about it. And what I would have done was I would have taken that gift of spirit and I would have put it on the highest shelf possible in my life, where all the dust and the cobwebs would collect, and I would have left it there. So I want to say how incredibly grateful I am that Peter, when I told him about this, he accepted it. It was from God. I said, God couldn't possibly speak to me. I mean, why should God speak to me? I mean, after all, look what's happened in my life. But it was that belief in what had happened to me that has really helped me to, my faith to become stronger and stronger. And this is really what has happened. So I have a tremendous feeling of gratitude to Peter for that. Mind you, he would never accept anything that I said to him, like, well, why don't you do such and such a thing? Now you go and just sit down and meditate and then and write it down, then I'll accept it. And then he did. And this was something, we worked very closely together for many years.